and then
Then
we
you
get
trying to
around
take his
this
bread.
money.
Like, dang.
Yeah, like we talking about 18 million. You ain't gonna give me my 18?
18 is crazy.
18 is crazy. One more video. Check out. And we got people jumping in and out here.
What up,
So
my peoples? What up?
make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate y'all in here on the late night talk. This one was something that you brought up. I did look into this one, but let's just listen to the video first, and then let's get everybody's feedback, your feedback on this video, and then the consequences that happen because of these statements.
To do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer, no words. So y'all got two questions. So whoever want to ask two questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed, and this is all right. Questions.
Whew. Jerome Tang, former coach of Kansas State. And what happened after this was he was ultimately fired because of these comments. But what the bigger thing of, or the bigger kind of fallout of that, is that all these head coaches in their contracts have buyouts. And I believe the term is they fired him because of cause. I think that's the
Correct.
term.
They're saying with cause.
With cause, he is not being allowed to be paid out his, I think it's a substantial $18 million buyout from his contract. So people are calling foul on this. When I first listened to this, I didn't really feel anything was malice here. I think it was a coach who was very frustrated. They got, was it Northwestern? I think it was. Was it Northwestern they played? No,
No.
Cincinnati. They got blown out by 50 points in Cincinnati, who was 14-12. And then they're 1-10 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they had a rough season for sure.
Yeah, having a rough season, Big Ten. And 6 a.m. just talked about we're gonna run y'all. That's what that heard. That's what I kind of heard. We're gonna run y'all.
Sounds like to me.
Yeah, but you know, you're definitely in the hoops more than me. With this one, I don't feel anything was malice here, but I guess so there's two parts. One, he got fired, and then two, he got fired with cause. So do you think that this was a firing offense? And then two, kind of explain the with cause part of now they kind of don't want to give him, you know, what was in his contract.
So I think he's had a rough couple seasons. I think he had a season maybe 2-3 years ago where they were like 20 plus. He had 20 plus wins. They were kind of making noise. They're in a very tough division. They're in a Big 12. So you know you got the Kansases and all that stuff like that. So I think that Kansas State as an organization was probably looking to terminate him probably after this season and move forward with him. But then this came up where then they can kind of terminate him now and say it's with cause. But I'm with you. There's nothing that he said to me was malice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nothing that was worth, if you're saying this is why he's being fired or why you're firing him. And I think they're just using it as an excuse because they don't want to pay him the $18 million. And I think that's bogus. I think Kansas State should be embarrassed for that. And they should be held responsible too. You hired him, right? You hired him. You signed a contract. He signed a contract. And I think the second part of this is that this is kind of where we are in collegiate sports right now. Coaches are in a very, very difficult position. And what I mean by that is when you have NIL, when you have transfer portals, it is very hard to get complete buy-in from your players and to be able to coach them and coach them hard. Because if you coach a player too hard, they're out in the portal. You don't coach them too hard, you're not going to get the production. You got players making millions of dollars, 2 million, 1 million, 700,000, and you're trying to get them up at 6 a.m. to come go work and go practice and motivate them to go ahead and play. Meanwhile, they're getting a check that's crazy. There's more than majority of people come out or in college that you can think of. It's a very difficult space. I think that there is something that needs to be done in college sports, or it will continue to fester and grow and be the Wild West as it is right now. But these kids also have to, you know, not add fuel to those flames either, right? Like, understand that you guys are pretty much professional athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you know, and this frustration, lastly, I'll say, this frustration don't seem like it's just from this game. I think he had back-to-back blowouts. So this looks like it's probably a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I think the other day or yesterday, UCLA coach kicks his player off the field, sends him to the locker room because he had a late game foul or something like that. And I think it seems to be more of a frustrating thing that's happening behind the scenes, not just what you're seeing. Oh, well, it looks like he was giving effort and it was a hard foul. And you give all the kids all the excuses, but you don't know what's happening in practice.
Yeah.
Right? That could have been the last straw, right? Not the first straw. You don't know what's been going on, the behaviors that have been happening, how many straws he had before it got to this point. I think coach there probably was just, like you said, very fed up of this is our results because Cat's probably not making the practice on time or late to practice or not giving full effort. And he's pissed. And he said it. He said, these guys not going to be here. And you only say those things when you're pretty much done with your guys. Like, they just not doing it. Not because they're not good enough.
Well, he wanted to lose his cool. He wanted to start cursing too. He wanted,
he did.
But I guess my question to you then, though, in this spot though, but can they get away with that? Or I mean,
you're gonna go to court.
He's
gonna go to court for sure.
Yeah.
Right, but now you got to worry about the delay of the money and all that, but he's gonna go to court.
Have you ever seen something like this? Like, has this ever even happened before?
Not with calls on this level. Not with calls not like this, right? Not for this. I think we've seen it with the Rutgers coach way back in the teens when remember at practice he got caught like pushing the players and throwing the ball at the players and stuff like that. I forgot. Remember that?
We forget who's it? Was it Bobby Knight?
Bobby Knight-ish, but
yeah, like
but back then it was a little bit allowed. It was you can kind of go.
It was a little bit allowed to throw chairs at players.
It was you could do certain things back then. I think it was like the Rutgers basketball team that kind of like opened the door when the video camera was showing them at practice, and he was kind of like abusing the kids at practice. It was kind of crazy. I can't remember what coach that was, but if you look it up, it was probably like either in the early mid 2000s that it would happen. And I think he did get fired with calls, but it has to be some type of reasoning.
Yeah. Nah, when you sent me the story, I was like, I didn't even hear it. I was like, who the hell is that? And then I looked it up and got a little details. Like, oh, I was like, that's kind of wild. And then there's a lot. Like, it took me a little bit to get that because there's so much positive videos on this coach.
Right.
There's like so much positive videos of this coach talking about his players, talking about God, his spirituality, how basketball and the Bible kind of go hand in, like all this stuff. So it took me a while to find like the negative stuff.
Right.
So it's not like this guy is a notoriously known, or at least from what I've saw in my search, a notoriously known coach to be, with anger issues or things like that. But obviously, like any competitor, it kind of, sometimes your emotions get, like you said, get built up over time. And
when you fed up, you fed up.
Yeah, you fed up.
His best way not to curse, right? He wasn't being disrespectful. He did address his players, but he also it looked to me, he looked like he was looking out for the team. He said, for the school, he said, I'm embarrassed for the fans. I'm embarrassed for my university. Like, it seemed like this is not the product that I am used to bringing out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it looked like, and then you fire him. Like,
yeah. And then they don't give it. And then they don't give him his
money. Like,
yeah. Like, we talk about 18 million. You gonna give me my 18?
18 is crazy.
18 is crazy. Like, y'all tripping. You know what I mean? We're going to have a problem. We're going to have a big problem.
Pay this man his money.
Right. Absolutely.